Well, good afternoon. I want to welcome everybody to our latest installment of the Legal Tech Institute lecture series. Today's program is blending your legal research, and we'll look at all of the different research options that are available to you. Hello, welcome. All of the different research options that are available to you out there for free online, for free from the State Law Library, and then for free from the Harris County Law Library as well. So my name is Joe Lawson. I'm the Deputy Director at the Harris County Law Library. I'll be joined by Amy Small, Assistant Director at the Texas State Law Library, just a little bit later. A couple of housekeeping matters. There is CLE credit for this program today, and that's provided by the Office of Vince Ryan, Harris County Attorney, the CLE committee for the office. So if you need that, make sure you sign up. And once this recording goes online, we'll also have CLE credit for that as well. All right, so what do we mean when we say blended legal research? Well, it means using both the tools at hand as well as making very efficient use of the expensive tools that are out there in the world. A lot of law firms have implemented this sort of strategy to try and reduce costs because they're having trouble recouping research costs from clients. For government agencies, the price of your contract goes up or down depending on how much you use a resource year to year. So there are lots of reasons to use these, and for some folks, the only option for doing legal research are the free options. So we want to make sure that for all those audiences, we make this information available to you. So real quick, before we look at the specific tools, I just want to recap from law school, if you went to law school, what the ideal research strategy is, and if you didn't go to law school, the only research strategy. Okay, so what you want to do whenever you're researching a legal question is start in secondary sources. These are things like treatises, law reviews, practice guides, things that will give you some context for the topic that you're researching. These are written by experts in the field, so they tend to capture all of the cases, statutes, regulations that apply to whatever topic you're researching. So it's a great way to just get yourself oriented in an area of law and then move on to the second step, which is finding the primary sources. These are the documents that contain the actual law. So these are the case opinions written by the courts, the statutes that come from the legislature, regulations from other government agencies. The way you do that is through citations, so we'll look at how citation plays into all of the resources we look at. But then once you find those citable primary sources, then you move into the stage of making sure those are all up to date and accurate and using the tools available for that. So really where the free tools are most useful are in this middle step here, which is finding primary sources, the cases, statutes, regulations. And the reason for that's pretty simple. Those are from the government. So by and large, there's no copyright on those. For some states, there are, although I think Georgia recently tried to enforce that against FastCase, and FastCase won in court. So even when the states try to impose a copyright, sometimes it doesn't work out. But the other materials, the secondary sources that provide context, those are written by authors who sign agreements and license their works to certain publishers. For citators and digests, those are editorial enhancements that are produced and copyrighted by the publishers themselves. So those are the ones that are harder to find. And we'll look at strategies for making sure that you can hit all the different steps of your research process using the tools at hand and then finding the other tools when you need them. All right, and then a word of caution when you're out there researching online. Not everything is what it seems. So obviously there are people out there just posting things that claim to be law. But what I do want to point out is even the Texas State Legislature has a wonderful interface where you can look at all the codes from the state legislature. But if you look in their FAQ at the very bottom, it says you don't rely on these. These are provided as is. And so I still have confidence in the material coming from the legislature. But I do want to point out that even from a source that should be accurate and up to date and that sort of thing, they still indicate that it may not be. So that's why we want to make sure that we use all the tools to make sure that our research is accurate, current, and as accessible as possible. Okay, so these are the tools I want to focus on as far as free online tools are concerned, and these are some of the best ones out there. Google Scholar, of course, is free and available to everybody. CaseText has a lot of free material, and then they have options to buy their premium content. And then FastCase and CaseMaker are two sort of alternative subscription databases to the big guys, which are Westlaw and Lexis. And those are provided for free. The standard subscription is provided for free through the State Bar Association. So anybody who's licensed through the Texas State Bar has a login for both of these, and I want to make sure everybody knows what's available to them along those lines. All right, so Google Scholar is available at scholar.google.com, and it's great because it uses the Google search algorithm, which is one of the best ones out there. And what this is applied specifically to scholarly articles, patents, but also case law. So you have case law for state courts and federal courts going back to 1950, and the reason for that is because most governments got together and established that as the amount of time that they would make available for free digitally to a lot of publishers like this. So Google has just taken this free information, applied their search algorithm to it, sorted it out into different jurisdictions and then different levels within that jurisdiction. So for instance, you can limit to just the Texas Supreme Court or just to Texas appellate courts. Now, it's not as nice as Westlaw, where you can actually separate it down into the appellate court districts in Texas, but you know, it is a great tool to use for free. And you can search multiple jurisdictions at the same time. You can search by citation. You can do phrase searches like I have here, where you look for an exact phrase. So it's a very flexible interface as well. So when you do your search, you get a results list. On the left-hand side of your screen, you have filter options, so you can filter by date, you can filter by court, a number of other ways. And then the entries look a lot like they look on Westlaw or Lexis, and that's because it's structured data, so you have a title of a case, you have a citation, all the usual things, and then a little snippet about the posture of the case. And then at the bottom, you have additional links. So cited by 93, that means it's been cited by 93 documents. Now that doesn't mean just cases, so it could be, you know, law review articles, that sort of thing. But when you get into the how cited, the very next one over, that's when you can sort of have a rudimentary citator to work with. A citator is what you use to make sure your case is still good law. All right, so when you click on the title of the case, this is what you'll see here, which is your caption, and then you'll see the text of the case, as well as all the court information. A how cited link appears in the top left corner, and when you click on that, you get all the different documents that have cited to this case. So that's very useful for growing your research, moving over to other similar documents, or making sure your case is still good law. Unfortunately, though, Google has not taken the extra step that other database vendors have, which is to put little flags next to your cases. So you actually have to go through and read all the cases that have cited your case. You know, for something like a landmark Supreme Court case, that's going to be, you know, tens of thousands of cases. So it may not be useful for that, but for a lot of cases that we use every day, newer cases that have not been cited that frequently, it is a good option for you. Additionally, you'll see right here is a link to a law review article. And I point this out because when you click on these, it actually links, in many cases, over to Heinonline. Heinonline, of course, is the database. It's a subscription database that has the actual PDF scan of the document, so it appears just as it did in the law review article. The reason I point this out is because if you're on a computer at the law library, this is available for free. If you're on your own device at the law library downstairs here, it's available for free. Or if you log in through the Texas State Law Library's databases, you can access Heinonline for free anywhere. So you do have some options to get to this from Google Scholar. CaseText is a newer database that has come online, and it's based, I believe, in Silicon Valley out in California. And CaseText tries to use artificial intelligence in order to make legal materials more accessible. So when you do your search, it has artificial intelligence running in the background suggesting additional options for your research, which is helpful. Now, of course, the most sophisticated programs are premium, but CaseText does make their information available for free for searching cases and statutes. So this is where you can find it. If you just go to CaseText.com, that's their main sales page, so you actually have to go to CaseText.com/search to find the search interface. And then these are the materials that you'll be searching when you get there. Again, you can see it's cases back to 1950, so that's a pretty common element. But then for federal courts, it's a little bit farther back, and then you also have statutes and regulations you can search. The interface is pretty robust. You have filters to filter all of your search options, and then you have larger snippets of the case, so you can kind of scan and read a little bit before you actually go through and read the entire case. Once you get into the case itself, again, you have your caption and the text, but it also has this how cited feature. And CaseText does try to provide some editorial enhancement. So you can see right over here that there's a red square next to one of the cases, and that indicates that there may be some negative treatment for that case that you'll want to make sure you read to see if your case is still good law. CaseText also provides statutes, so if you click the little section symbol next to the search box at the top there, it'll pull up statutes and codes for all jurisdictions in the U.S., so federal and 50 states. And then, of course, we care about Texas codes, and it has the entire Texas codification system there, all the different codes. What I want to point out, though, is it says updated March 26, 2018. And of course, we had a lot of stuff go into effect September 1st, 2018, and then a few more things January 1st. So once again, when you're researching on the internet, you want to make sure that you know when the information was last updated, and just remind yourself of that as you're going through and doing your research with these free online tools. Okay, getting into the databases that are available from the State Bar for free, you've got FastCase and CaseMaker. As far as I know, Texas is still the only State Bar Association that has both available for free to its members, because we do everything bigger in Texas. But both have very good attributes, and it's wonderful to have these available for free. So when you log into your My Bar page from the State Bar, of course you see how much you still owe in dues, and you see how much CLE credit you still need. Hopefully it's 1 hour less after today for everybody here. But at the bottom of the page, you have search interfaces for both CaseMaker and FastCase. And you can start from here just entering your search. You can also enter a citation to a case and start your research that way. So FastCase, just starting with this one, we've got, again, full text of cases, statutes, regulations, and as I mentioned, those are sort of the low-hanging fruit. Those are the things that you can get available for free from government entities. Of course, FastCase, once again, won some court case recently that opened up a few more jurisdictions to this. But they also have constitutions, court rules, AG opinions, all sorts of things that you can search with their algorithm. They also have a free app available for iOS and Android. I think everybody should know this, but the majority of the legal community says that they use iPhones, right? So that's the more popular one, and so a little bit more work goes into that one. Regarding which app you're using, you always want to make sure, even when you're using the app, that you're checking when statutes were last updated, that sort of thing, even when you're using the app instead of the website. All right, so this is the classic interface for FastCase, if anybody has used this one, but it's got a search bar and then browsing options just below that, and you can search all of those primary materials. You also have options here to build what's called My Library, so you can use some foldering options to keep track of your research inside the database if you want to. You can also switch to FastCase 7, which is the newest interface, and you can see it's a little more Facebook-like, I guess, is how I've heard it described. It's arranged a little bit differently, but still we've got your search bar at the top and the browsing options just below. So once you learn the general outlay of these databases, it's pretty similar going across. What's great about this is you can add favorite documents, and it's right there in front of you. So if you're going back to the same statute, the same case over and over, you just want to put that right in front of you so that you can go in and update it periodically, make sure there's no new case law citing to it. You can do that very quickly. FastCase also allows you to do advanced searching. So if you're a power user and you still use Boolean and use phrase searching and proximity searching, truncation, all those words that we learned in our master's program in library science, and a lot of people learned in the 80s when they had to use that for online legal research in law school. Those are still available and very useful in terms of making sure your most relevant information comes to the top, because otherwise you're relying solely on the algorithm, and I'm not sure, I haven't litigated in quite some time, but I'm pretty sure courts don't generally look favorably on you if you try and blame the algorithm. I mean, I'll leave that to my litigators in the audience here, but you want to make sure that you use all the tools available to you to get the most relevant information. So when you find the case that you're looking for, in this case I pulled up Plessy versus Ferguson so that you can see the negative treatment flag at the top. FastCase uses artificial intelligence to try and determine how cases are treated by subsequent case law. So of course Plessy was overturned in Brown versus Board of Education, and so there should be a red flag next to it, and so we're happy to see that here. And so once you click on that, you're taken to the bad law bot, and this is that artificial intelligence that's trying to determine what cases have been overturned, have been treated negatively, that sort of thing, to give you a clue as to which cases you need to read in the subsequent case history. Additionally, FastCase has an option called Foresight when you pull up your results list. So if, in my search, I search specifically for the case name Brown versus Board of Education, right? So that's going to appear in that case and subsequent cases that cite to that case. However, it's not going to pull up Plessy versus Ferguson on its own, even though the two are very much linked. However, Foresight is a feature that suggests other cases that don't have your search terms but might be useful to you. And so it puts those right at the top, and it's sort of a next phase in computer-assisted research, which is great to have through FastCase for free from the State Bar. Additionally, FastCase has done a lot of work to add secondary sources. So these are treatises, form books, practice guides, those sorts of things. Unfortunately, though, if you're only using your access through the State Bar, you'll get a little robot with a shopping cart that tells you it's outside of your subscription, and so you have to pay additional money if you want to just add that to the subscription you're using. But before you do that, make sure you hear from Amy from the State Bar, who's going to tell you how to get around that for FastCase. Just real quickly, CaseMaker is the other one that's available from the Texas State Bar. Again, it's got a typical research database interface. You've got a search bar at the top where you can type in case citations or keyword searches, and then you've got your browsing options just below. When you pull up a document, it's going to look pretty standard. You've got your caption at the top and I feel like I'm on repeat here because it's it's pretty standard here, but caption at the top and case below. CaseMaker also has the options to, also has some algorithms working in the background to find negative treatment for your case. So you'll see in the top left corner of the text of the case, you have a red flag on this one that tells you that there's a problem with subsequent case law. So a court has looked at this case and said that there's an issue with it. So you want to make sure you click on that to see what cases have come subsequently that have treated your case negatively, and make sure you go and read those. Additionally, across the top, you've got tabs so you can see all citing references. In this case, it's only 3 citing references, but those could be cases, they could be secondary sources, all sorts of things. So that's wonderful for growing your research. Then it separates out the negative treatment, so if you have more than one negative case, you can find it there on the top. Okay, statutes as well through CaseMaker, and right at the top it says current through the 84th regular session. Does anybody know which session we're in now? 86, yeah, thank you very much. So now this is an old slide. CaseMaker is actually up to date through the 85th since the 86 just got started. But I wanted to point that out just to make sure you know, in all these databases you can kind of see for things that are regularly updated like statutes and regulations, what law you're looking at, whether or not it's current, that sort of thing. Additionally, with CaseMaker, you can see archived statutes. So if a statute changed, you know, in 2013 or 2008, something like that, you can go back and see those older versions and compare, you know, if you're doing legislative history research, that sort of thing. Additionally, you've got the annotators, so you've got secondary source material through links. Of course, caution on that because CaseMaker also has a standard package which it offers to you for free through the State Bar, and then a premium package with those secondary sources. All right, so when you get your search results, if you do a search in CaseMaker, you know, it tells you how many search results you have, and you can search within your results over in your filters on the left-hand side. Additionally, you have citation to other resources on CaseMaker. But if you're going to those secondary sources, this is what you'll see, which is the ability to download things like forms or treatises from outside things. Okay, so as you saw, or as you heard, because I repeated it about 85 times, the problem with a lot of these free resources is that they do great with primary law, and then they try to give you a sales pitch for secondary law. So if you have to stay within free environment, or if you just want to see what else is out there, I want to tell you about some other good resources that are available for free online that can provide you some context and analysis outside of the databases we've talked about. And then Recap and Dragnet are just a couple of cool tools that I want to tell you about that are out there. First up is the Legal Information Institute from Cornell Law School. And this has been online since I think about 1990? 92. Let's say 92. I'll be happy to do more research on that, but let's say early 90s. And what's interesting about that is when they first started, HTML was not yet a thing, right? The internet as we know it was not yet a thing, and so they were going through a different protocol and interface and all that to get Supreme Court cases from the Supreme Court. They have improved substantially since then, and so now you have not only federal materials, you also have state materials. It expands to cases, statutes, regulations, and then you also have some original content like an entire legal encyclopedia available for free online, and that's their WEX Legal Encyclopedia, as well as some other annotated information. So a great resource if you need that for free. Justia is another good resource. This is based out of California, and it's a collection of basically topical blog posts on various topics by nationwide authors. The idea here is, as you can see over on the right-hand side of the screen, is that the hope is people will come here and then find a lawyer, and those lawyers pay for access. So that's how it stays free. But there is a lot of good information on various areas of law on here. Texas Bar Today is another good option for you. So blog posts generally are a good source of secondary information. They're written by attorneys who practice in a certain area, and you can access these just through a Google search. But when you do that, you have no guarantee that it will be from your jurisdiction, that it will be at all new, that anybody's looked at it, basically. The folks over at the State Bar have put together a great resource, and that's Texas Bar Today, where they actually follow Texas-specific legal blogs, and they post every single day new blog posts that they curate to make sure that it's of interest to readers, that it's from an authoritative source, that sort of thing. And then they publish a top 10 post every Friday, so you can see what the top 10 posts from the last week were. You can get up to speed pretty quickly and have some indication that it's all good information. So you can see this online, like I said, at texasbartoday.com. You can also sign up for their newsletter and get that delivered to your inbox every morning if you want to go that way. And then FindLaw comes in two flavors. This is from the folks who bring you Westlaw, Thomson Reuters, but you have FindLaw General, which is more or less for the public, anybody who searches on Google for a legal topic and finds it here. But you also have FindLaw for legal professionals. And again, this is ad-based, so you're going to see ads for other lawyers and services and that sort of thing. But there is a lot of good content here written by attorneys on a variety of topics, and they do have the ability to search for cases by party name, and that breaks down into different courts. Texas is one of the jurisdictions they cover, and so a lot of good information here. The Recap Archive from CourtListener is a wonderful resource if you do federal litigation. And the way this works is you can download a Chrome extension or a Firefox add-on, and then every time you go on to Pacer and pay for a document, it captures that document, puts it in a free database, and then makes it available online through this search interface that you see over here. So if you would like to contribute to the overall database, you can download the extensions. Otherwise, you can just use this to look through, I think they say, millions of Pacer documents. So you have options there. All right, and then Dragnet is an interesting federated search option. Is anybody familiar with how federated search works? So when you search a database, usually you're just searching what's in that database. Federated searching works where you type in a search into the search box, and then it goes out to a variety of different databases, puts your search into all those databases, and brings all your results back in one place. So you can see the Dragnet selected sites. These are curated by the law librarians at New York Law School, and they go out and find interesting databases that people might want to search. Usual things like congress.gov, but some really subject-specific things as well. And all you have to do is put your search into one search box here, and it will go out and pull results from dozens and dozens of different databases. So if you want to discover new databases out there online and take advantage of the efficiency from New York Law School Library, you can do that for free through Dragnet. Okay, so I've spoken enough so far. I'll be back later, but now I want to turn it over to Amy Small from the Texas State Law Library.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much to Joe and to the Harris County Law Library for inviting me and having me here, and thanks to everyone for attending. I'm really excited to tell you all about the free resources that we make available through our website, but first I want to take a little minute just to explain who my library is and how this all came about. The Texas State Law Library is a public law library located in Austin, Texas. Our legislative mandate is to provide the Supreme Court, the Court of Criminal Appeals, Texas state agencies, and the general public with legal information. And for a long time, we mainly focused on serving the courts and the state agencies because they were located in Austin with us. We found it very hard to give people across the state the level of legal information that they often needed. But at the same time, we recognized that they had a real need for it, and that, in a lot of places across the state, they didn't have any options. So as time went by, technology evolved, we decided that we could do a better job of meeting everyone's legal needs across the state. So we worked with our publishers and our amazing web librarians at our library to develop our digital collection, which makes this information freely available no matter where you are in Texas. And we compiled this collection of material, which we're really proud of. We're really excited that people, everywhere from El Paso to Amarillo to Laredo have used it and found that it's been helpful for them. So I'm going to start off by showing you a couple of things that we have for free for everyone without a library account on our website. And because we recognize that we have a really broad variety of patrons, we offer a broad variety of information resources. We have everyone from practice litigators using our resources to court personnel to people who are trying to solve their own legal problems. So to reflect that, we have really information resources that run the gamut from self-help books to form books and practice guides. But the very first thing that this is an original project of ours that we're really excited about, and people who run across it are also really excited about. It's a complete digital collection of Texas's historical statutes from 1879 to 1984. So if you are ever working on a case and you need to know how the law read at a certain point in time, we have all of that information available for free here. It's also helpful for people who maybe have loved ones in prison and they need to know the law at the time that the offense was committed. All this information is here. We were given grants by the State Bar, the Austin Bar Association, and there was one other one, but thanks to their support, we were able to digitize these materials. And they're really nice. They're actual scans that you can either go in. This interface will allow you to sort of browse through, flip through it, or we also have the PDF versions available so that you can download them, and the search capability is a little bit better that way. Let's see. That may take a little bit to load, so, because they are large files, so I will caution you that if you're on a cell phone or something, it might take a minute. So while that's loading, I'll show you our other original resource. These are our LibGuides, and they are research guides that have been compiled by our librarians on topics that people ask us frequently about. And for example, I'll show you our landlord-tenant. This is a question that a lot of people have problems with their landlord, and they need to know what their rights are in a situation. They need to know how the law protects them, and they may not know how to go about finding that information. So we've compiled all sorts of information for them. We have here, you'll see along the left-hand side, the research from home contains ebooks that we make available through our digital collection. So people can sign up for a library account and have access to the full text of these books immediately. The ones you'll see here are self-help books. So they'll explain the topic in plain English. Oftentimes they'll have sample letters, things like that. A little bit further down, we have resources that we only have in print at the library, but still might find helpful. And then we include web links to the actual text of the law, so that people can actually read the law that's going to be applicable in this situation. Because that law is often hard to understand and complex, we've also compiled resources that explain it in plain English. So, you know, if someone just needs to know a general explanation of, for example, eviction law, we've got some resources here that walk you through it and explain it in simple language, go past the legalese, but still is really helpful information for people. In addition to that, we have links on where you can go for more help. If the information that we've provided didn't quite address your need, we've found organizations that may be able to provide further help, whether these are tenants councils that can actually intervene and help mediate. They may be hotlines. For specialties, like there's a homeowners association hotline that we refer to a lot that people don't know exists. So we've provided this information here. Across the top, you'll also see some additional tabs if there are related topics. So we have here some legal forms, and these are provided by other organizations that we'll link to. And we also have practice aids. So for practitioners who are actually trying to do a little bit more advanced work, we'll have a listing of what you can obtain through our library. Some of them might be ebooks, some of them might be in print, but at least you'll know what resources we have available for you. And one other thing, so this is loaded now, and I just wanted to show you. So they're really high quality scans of the statutes. You can flip through and read the text as it was. I believe that they do contain the derivation tables and the disposition tables, so that'll help you doing your historical legal research. One recurring theme in Joe's part of the presentation was that the information you find for free online may not always be up to date. especially regarding the statutes. So this is not our website, but I still think it's really valuable, and if people don't know it exists, I'd like to tip them off to it. The Legislative Reference Library offers an index to sections affected, which if you are familiar with researching the session law in print, you'll recognize this section in all the printed session laws, but LRL has done a great job of digitizing it and made it current. So as the session is kicked off, you'll be able to see if there are any bills pending on a specific section. So this is the Deceptive Trade Practices Act, and already in the 86th session, you can see that there is one bill already introduced. So this is a great way to keep track of developing legislation on a topic you're interested in. And once the session comes to a close, you'll also be able to see what is actually passed into law. So this is super helpful for supplementing those free sites. It'll help you bring it up to date really quick. So all of that is available for free without a library account. It's great information, but what we can provide to you with a registered library account is even better. So the next resources I'm going to show you are things that once you register for a free library account with us, these are all the things that you'll be able to access. So first up, and to access these from any page on our website, up in this top right-hand corner, you'll see the Research from Home button. This will give you a list both to how to register for a library account if you don't have one yet, but also how to access our various databases and ebooks that we provide to you. So first up, we have ILA Link. Our immigration attorneys love this, and the instant it goes down, if we have an outage, they're on the phone, please can we get ILA Link up? It's down, what can I do? Because it is so full of great information. So within it, you will find primary resources, federal statutes, court decisions, administrative decisions. So you can find Supreme Court cases from any year relevant to immigration law. There are government manuals, which are really, really helpful depending on the aspect of immigration law you might be working in. And we also have within this, there are books from ILA, the full text of the books, including Kurzban's Immigration Law Sourcebook, full text, up to date, for free, which is just, incredible. So like I said, our immigration lawyers love this. And there's so much more within there once you start diving in. And we're really proud of this database because even for people who aren't primarily immigration law attorneys, you might find that your typical practice intersects with it in a certain way. You might be a family law attorney and find that you run into some immigration law issues, business law. So this, while it may not be your primary focus, you might find this helpful. So we love that. FastCase Joe showed you, but I do want to show you the sort of added features that your subscription through, or your account through the state law library will offer. So because we also offer Heinonline, which I will show you in a moment, the two integrate, and you will be able to find law review and law journal articles relevant to your search through the interface. So if you were just to do a keyword search, adverse possession, you would get the case law results that you would expect, but also in the right-hand side, you'll see these Heinonline materials. And these will be law review articles relevant to your search, which is awesome. You can click right on it and go to the full text immediately, all logging in one place, which is really helpful. We also have, through FastCase, and so there you'll see the PDF, we have some Aspen treatise libraries. So it's under lowest law libraries. That was how we had it formerly. But so within these, you'll see lots of different treatises and other secondary source materials in here. So these are all things rolled into this FastCase subscription that you may not be able to access through the State Bar version. So Heinonline, we've both touched on a little bit, but I just kind of want to show you how truly comprehensive it really is. So through our subscription, you'll have access to the Law Journal library, some legal classics, and then there's also a really wonderful collection of federal congressional documents. So if that's something that ever comes up for you, there's Federal Register, legislative histories already compiled for you, which are really outstanding. But as we've mentioned, there's pretty much any law review or law journal that you could think of going back to the very beginning just scanned as a PDF so that it's easy to cite. And one thing that I really like about the way that Hein has formatted things is that they make it easy to download the entire article with one click. So you don't have to go page by page, saving each one or printing each one. You can simply go over here to the PDF and it will download the article altogether. It's just a time-saving step that I think is really great. So the next one I wanted to talk about is getting into our ebook collection. Most of our ebooks are through Overdrive, which you may be familiar with through the Houston Public Library. We use the same system, but we have a couple of collections that are outside the Overdrive collection. The first is West Academic, and through this service, we have a really wide collection of horn books and nutshells. So if you find yourself just needing a quick crash course in an area of law that you're not familiar with, we have the full text of nutshells and horn books here. This is great for attorneys who might be branching out into a new area of practice, maybe doing a pro bono case and just needing to get up to snuff quickly. And again, these are, the full text available here. So, and you can just click through and get to the various sections very quickly. These are nice because they're not images, they're text, so it'll load quickly. You'll have searching capability, copy and pasting, that sort of thing. Another ebook database that we have outside of Overdrive, we have two that are more focused on self-help. The Legal Information Reference Center is a really nice resource for people who are legal novices and just sort of want an understanding of a legal area, like an area of law, or just needing to accomplish something in their life. These have a lot of books about estate planning, writing wills, solving credit errors or credit problems, debt collectors, this sort of thing, and walks them through the issue in a way that's easy to understand and helps them know what they can do about a situation, how they can protect themselves. These books will often have form letters, for example. They may not have legal forms, but they'll have a form that you can send to a debt collector to ask them to stop calling you. So these we find people are very interested in if they just have a pretty straightforward problem. For example, this Solve Your Money Troubles is a super popular one, and you'll see that it does contain the full text of each chapter. Yeah, so this is just as it looks in the printed book. Our final ebook collection outside of Overdrive is the National Consumer Law Center. This one is a little bit more focused on financial health. So it's also a little bit more advanced than the Legal Information Reference Center, which is really, really sort of for the legal novice. These are a little bit more advanced, but they are, really helpful introductions about, credit, debt, mortgages, lending, consumer protection, that sort of thing. So again, these are full text books. So in Overdrive, this is where the majority of our ebooks are located. And there's a couple ways to access these. The first is, we refer to it as our digital collection. And clicking here from our Research from Home page, you can browse by subject. So we have them organized. If you're not sure the title you're looking for, you can come in here and browse and just see what's available. So, you know, and here's a listing. If we have any Texas-specific books, they'll be separated out. Bankruptcy here obviously is a federal issue, so these are all going to be general or federal titles. And you can see we've got a really large collection, and again, these are all full-text ebooks for free. The other way that you can find ebooks is if you knew what you were looking for or sort of wanted to actually do a little bit more of a robust search, you can search within our catalog. So let's see. So first you would make sure that you select the Find Library Books option underneath this search bar at the top of each page. The other option will search within our website, which will still find you some good information, but maybe not what you're after here. And so just doing a straight search like that will show you everything in our catalog regarding Texas family law. However, to narrow it down to ebooks, you can come over here to the left-hand side and click ebook. And this will filter it down. And you'll want to be looking for this little box here, download as an ebook. Also, the ones that are available outside of Overdrive and those two other databases, you'll see here, available in the Legal Information Reference Center, just another way of letting you know that you do have access to it online. So let's take a look here at this Texas Family Law Practice and Procedure. It is a multi-volume set from Matthew Bender. It's a great practice guide, full of forms, very popular, and because it is multi-volume and our catalog sees one volume as one book, as one checkout, if you don't know which one you're after, it can be kind of hard because you can't flip to it. So we've scanned the table of contents for these multi-volume sets so you can get right to it. This one is really interesting because it arranges everything as tasks. So if you know that you need to accomplish a certain task, you can find it in here and then go actually check out the book. So let's take a look, and you can just sign in. It's one sign-in. Fortunately, you don't have to have a separate sign-in for Overdrive, for our catalog. It's all just one. And so you'll see here, these are all the volumes that are available. If someone already had it checked out, these little buttons would be grayed out. But as it stands, these are all available. So I'll go ahead and borrow this one, and we can take a look at it. You can have up to 3 books at a time, and you have them for 3 days each. Should one of these have been checked out, you'd be given the option to place a hold on it. And it would notify you as soon as it came in. So once you check it out, you have the option to either read it in your browser, which is what we recommend as it's a little bit more straightforward, or you can download it as an EPUB, but that requires additional software in order to read it on a device. So in general, I suggest that just reading it in the browser, I find it a little easier to navigate that way as well. And once you get to it, you'll see, everything full text here. You'll also be able to, clicking at the bottom will bring up menus, and you can see a table of contents. You would be able to search within it. And the great thing with the ebooks is that if this is a title that you find that you use a lot, any bookmarks and notes that you place will be there the next time you check out. So, placing bookmarks is really easy. All you do is go up at the top. Let's see if we get into the text, and you'll be able to, place a bookmark there. And it's remembered for you. It'll show you a list, and every time you check it out, you can come straight back to it. Let's see what else. So that's pretty much a crash course in our ebooks. And then the only thing I have left to show you is how to actually sign up. It's free for everyone. The only requirement is that you currently are located in Texas. In order to make these things available, our publishers ask that we limit who can access it to people in Texas. And so for people who sign up online, the only way for us to determine that was by using geolocation. So in order to do this, you can access this page from the Research from Home site. You can also access it from About Us and get a library account. You're welcome, of course, to come into our library to sign up in person, or you can do it from your phone or from your home computer, public library computer, by clicking Apply Online for a library account. And the geolocation that I mentioned, all you have to do is click this green button. If it asks, if your browser asks to provide your location, just click Allow so that it will send that information. And that's all it takes. So what you'll be looking for is this, you're in Texas, yay, success message. If you try to sign up and you don't see that, we do have a troubleshooting page that discusses a lot of the common errors. Firewalls are a big one. And so, we have some likely causes and ways to fix them so that you can sign up successfully. And then from there, it's a pretty straightforward, brief form about your identity, your contact information, and a little bit about who you are so we can know who's using our site and hopefully try to tailor it towards people that we find using our site a lot. And that's all there is. Once you fill it out, you'll just hit submit. I believe it's exactly 15 minutes later, you'll receive an email confirming your account and you'll be all set to go. Remote registrations are good for 6 months. And at that time, we'll send you a reminder that your account's going to expire and you can renew online. And it's free. Best of all, you'll never have to pay anything. You don't have to pay to check out. You don't have to pay to register. And we're happy to make this information available to everyone in Texas.
On the 3 days, 3 calendar days?
Yes. Yeah. And so that said, even when the library's closed, you can still check out our ebooks and have them over the weekend. Mm-hmm.
Is there special access for government employees?
There is. We do have certain titles that if you are a government employee and register with your government email address, you will have access to. The big one that everyone sort of gets excited about is Dorsenio's litigation guide. I'm not sure whether the transaction guide is on there as well. I believe also Collier's bankruptcy might also be another one that's limited to government employees. There are only a few titles, but the ones they are big ones. So if you do work for a court, be sure to sign up with that email.
Is the litigation a guide available anytime, or do we have to check that out? Do we have to?
Yeah, you would have to check it out, and the checkout is only available for the government employees.
If somebody else is using it, we don't have access to it?
Right. But you can place a hold, and as soon as they return it, it'll be 3 days or less. You would be notified that it would be available for you then.
If it is available, can we print pages?
Mm-hmm.
Does it have hyperlinked cases too?
It does, but I believe that it would link to LexisNexis, so you would need to be able to log into LexisNexis to read those.
So Connors, is that available?
We have tried, and they, for a long time, they were trying to develop their own sort of ebook platform, and it just wasn't something that was going to work for us. But that's been the number one at the top of our list, that if we can get that as an ebook, we would be all over it. So we sort of check in with them every now and then, but I think that it's just, so far it hasn't been an option for us yet. Any other questions? All right. And you can register here on your phone. It's really easy and just takes a second. So if you wanted to register while I'm here to help you walk through it, I'd be happy to.
Great. And I've got just a couple more minutes of content. If everybody has a second, that'll actually answer a few of the questions about how to get access to Lexis if you don't have it, and that sort of thing. Let's see here. All right. So far we've talked about free tools, but there are reasons why you occasionally have to use the more expensive tools. But all of these are available to you for free downstairs in the law library, the Harris County Law Library. And then if you find yourself over in Austin, they're available in the Supreme Courthouse complex, the government complex, for free as well. So there are law libraries open to the public throughout the state of Texas that make these available for free. So if you need to use something like Westlaw or Lexis, the reasons why you might need to use that are things like citators and headnotes. Those are editorial enhancements that help you make sure that you're working with good law, and then things like forms and practice guides, so like Dorsanio is a secondary content. The citators for Westlaw and Lexis are KeyCite for Westlaw, Shepard's, that's the classic one for Lexis, and of course when we use a citator we call it shepherdizing a case because that was sort of the standard, but KeyCite is also a good option. Word of caution though, there was just a article published in Law Library Journal doing an empirical study of both of these citators, and negative case law was missed by each one. So what I would recommend is if you are working on something big, an appellate case, or if you use the same cases over and over and you want to come downstairs to our law library in Harris County and do an annual checkup, you have both of these available to you, and you can run them through FastCase and CaseMaker for free. So, I'll leave it to you to determine how important that is, but if it's important enough to you, you do have options to do multiple databases and try to catch everything. So in Westlaw, you just type in your case citation. It pulls up your case, and it gives you a little flag next to it. So in this case, Brown versus Board of Education has been cited 22,000 times, and somebody in that time has disagreed with it once, sort of, but not enough to overrule it. So that's why you see a yellow flag and not a red flag. So when you click on negative treatment as a tab, there are only 29 citations out of 22,000 there, and it gives you all those listed here with their own citator flags next to it, and then off to the right it tells you the depth with which they've treated your case. So the little green boxes tell you if they really examined it or just kind of cited it and looked at it. Additionally, you can hover over the little headnote marker to see how it's discussing your case. So if it's just discussing like the summary judgment standard or something and you actually want to get into the meat of the case, this is where you can quickly go through that downstairs. Additionally, at the Harris County Law Library, we just added Thomson Reuters Drafting Assistant. This is where you can upload a document, say a brief or a motion, and it will automatically go through all of your citations, suggest how to put them in Green Book format, and then give you a little flag or indicator next to each one to tell you whether every single case is still good law in your case. This also works if you run an opponent's brief through this to see if there are any red flags that you want to look at more. So, good automated tool that's now available for free downstairs in the law library. Lexis has the same thing. If you want to go directly to the Shepard's report, you can put Shep : in front of your case citation, and it's going to pull up a results list that are only things that have cited your decision. Each one of those has its own indicator, so Lexis has things like yellow triangles instead of flags, and then you can go with the filters on the left-hand side there to limit it just to your negative history, to distinguished or limited or criticized, however they separate out the cases. What's important here, though, is I told you about FastCase and CaseMaker have algorithms looking at the cases to see what the negative treatment is. Lexis and Westlaw actually pay attorneys to look at every single case that comes out and see how it treats the cases it cites within the case. And so you're getting professional eyes looking at your case to put these flag indicators on here, which is why they're much more specific rather than just negative or positive. It's actually criticize, question, that sort of thing. All right. Additionally, Lexis and Westlaw each have their own headnotes. There was a big copyright dispute back in the late 80s, I believe, and so Lexis had to make its own headnotes. But because of that, you have two different options for growing your research. So if you find a case, at the top it will have the little snippets of law that are discussed, and then you can go into the headnote system to find other cases that cite to that. Why that's important is because citators only pick up cases that have cited directly to your case, right? So you might miss whole areas of case law out there if you don't look at things like headnotes because they're on the same topic but not necessarily cited by a subsequent case. So that's where this is good for making sure that you still have good law in an area. Again, it's expensive because it's in the more expensive paid databases available for free at a lot of public law libraries. All right, with headnotes you can actually limit to by topic, and then you can limit to most cited. So if there is a preeminent case in the topic area, you can move that directly to the top and make sure you're reading the case that the courts are going to cite. Additionally, with Westlaw, you have things like forms, so Form Finder. We have this available downstairs. I think they estimated 600,000 forms available. That's across the country, all jurisdictions. So you can limit that to Texas if you want to and kind of narrow down. But when you find the form you want, they have the ability to download as a Word document, quickly edit. It's a whole lot of things that you pay for to make things easier on you, but you have to pay for them. So if you need those for free, they are downstairs. We also have Lexis available downstairs for free. So if you find yourself needing a Matthew Bender title like Dorsanio's, you can come downstairs to the law library. It's in the database format rather than the ebook format. You can click on the links. It goes directly in the database to cases and statutes, and you can print, email, or download any of those documents that you need to for free in the law library. All right, and then just give you an overview. We mentioned O'Connor's. O'Connor's was actually purchased by Westlaw late 2017, and over the course of 2018, they integrated their online platform, which was O'Connor's Online, into Westlaw. So now if you want to use O'Connor's in the database format, not the ebook format, but in database format, it is available in the Harris County Law Library through our Westlaw account. That's separate from the standard Harris County Westlaw account, which does not include O'Connor. So if you want it, it is actually downstairs. Additionally, Form Finder, this is the premium content that is protected by copyright, so not available for free everywhere. On the Lexis side, we have publications like the litigation guide, transaction guide, all the subject-specific guides. And then James Publishing is another one out there that a lot of attorneys like, especially criminal defense attorneys, have some titles there that they really like, but they have probate and family and a number of other things. And then, even more specific, we have the State Bar of Texas practice manuals available in searchable PDFs downstairs on our computers. So if you end up needing something, I have here pictured the family law practice manual, but we also have the probate system and the real estate and collections and all the other titles that you'd have to pay for each one pretty substantially to get those on your home computer. All right, so I will open it up to questions if you have any. Yes, sir.
You mentioned a drafting assistant that
Yep.
will check out citations. How do you do that? Do you scan it in or no?
Well, you have a document, usually a PDF, so you can scan it in, and we can help you with that in the law library. We have scanners. But if you scan it in as a PDF and it's machine readable, you can upload that into Drafting Assistant, and it will read that for you. Now, one additional feature of that is you can upload a PDF and then download a Word document. So if you want to edit it afterward, you can do that as well. So it's a very robust sort of automated tool that helps you with that. And then if you click on any of the links, it'll put the little it'll put all of the citations into hyperlinks and put your history indicator next to it. If you click on any of those, it'll open in our Westlaw, and you can read them right there, all on the same machine. So it kind of speeds up the process for you. Yep, and that makes it very easy if you're doing the annual checkup, like I said. So you use sort of the same cases all year because they're the leading cases in your area. If you bring those down in PDF, or if you bring a common motion or brief that you use in PDF, you can just run it through Drafting Assistant, and it will do that check for you, in just a few seconds, and that way you can know you're still relying on the best case law out there. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And if you haven't gotten your CLE credit, or if you haven't signed up, make sure you do that on the way out. If you want more programs like this, be sure to visit our website, harriscountylawlibrary.org/tech. That's the URL for the Legal Tech Institute at the Harris County Law Library. Thank you so much.
And that's all there is to it. For more learning opportunities like this, including online tutorials and in-person training sessions, visit the Harris County Law Library's Legal Tech Institute website at www.harriscountylawlibrary.org/tech.